Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to A Perfect Side, where we take an album, I give it a listen, and then I go, what side do I prefer? And today's album is from AC/DC, and it's the brilliant Back in Black. It's always sort of a bit of a tribute to Bond, because this is the first album that they'd released since the sad death of Bon Scott. They didn't know what they were going to do. They decided to carry on, and they found a great singer in Brian Johnson, ex-Geordie. And I've just read listened to him tell his story in an autobiography I've got on audiobook, and it's a fantastic story about Brian and how he became a member of Brian Johnson. He was he was about to quit the music industry, and then he got the call. And the rest is history, of course. So this came out on the 25th of July 1980. It's their 7th studio album in all. So yeah, I tell you who plays on it, because it's Brian, Angus, Malcolm, Cliff and Phil. And we'll put on side one. And the first thing you get is the bells. It seems like ringing out the old and bringing in the new. Hell's Bells is brilliant. This is the first time we really get to hear the dulcet tones of Brian Johnson. It's got a great riff. Malcolm wrote some great riffs, and this is one of them. I do love that track. It's great live as well, because they bring down the bell, and it's just fantastic. Up next, second track on the album, and 9 times out of 10 when I've seen them, this is the second track they play. They always seem to play a track off of the latest album they were touring with, and up next is Shoot to Thrill. Some more killer riffs, some Malcolm Young, sadly missed. And it was sad that towards the end of his life, he's got Alzheimer's, dementia, and he couldn't remember what he wrote. And that is so sad, because he like Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath, this was the man that came up with some great riffs for this band, on that sound he got on his Gretsch, taking off the pickups and giving this unique sound. I love this. It's got some great Angus guitar work on it, and of course it's got a great little bit of Phil Rudd drumming on it. Excellent track. Up next, What Do You Do for Money, Honey? More great riffs, and it's got a killer bass line from Mr. Cliff Williams. I know at the moment he's not touring at the moment, and respect to him, but what a great track that is. Just love it. Then we have Givin the Dog a Bone. I think this is one of Malcolm's great riffs on that doo-doo-doo is great. Brian, well, another solid vocal, and I love Phil Rudd's drumming on this track. It's just solid rock and roll. Great track. And then we have the last track on side one, Let Me Put My Love Into You. Solid. It's just great bass line. That engine room of Williams and Rudd was just fantastic. One of the tightest in the business for me. Great track to end the album. So we'll flip it over, and we have one of the most iconic tracks, Back in Black, the title track, used for lots of things. It's been in films, it's been used at the wrestling. I like this track, but it gets played too much now, and I haven't gone off it because I do love it, but yeah, you know what I mean. Then we have You Shook Me All Night Long. When I first heard this, I loved it. But once again, this has been played to death. Bit like Highway to Hell. The most two played tracks. When people do talent competitions, they sing AC/DC. It's either Highway to Hell or this one. If I never hear this track again, I won't be upset. I just think I do like the video they did for it when it was on the Maximum Overdrive with Brian in the tin bath and with the beers going up the street, and that was quite funny. But as a track, it's got a great solo, but as a track now, it's one that, yeah, I like it, but I don't want it, doesn't think. Then we have a Drink on Me. More classic. Angus, lead guitar, Malcolm driving the riffs home. Superb little track. Then we have probably the weakest track on this album, but it's still good. Shake a Leg. It's got a terrific riff, but it's not. I like it, but it is probably the weakest track. And then we have a track that was the first thing we heard by the new AC/DC, and it came out on single. And it's the slow melodic Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. I love this. I've only ever seen them perform this twice, but it's a great track. I love Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. I love the beginning, that little riff from Angus and Brian's, and all their metal men come down and get off your ass and get off the fence. To me, it makes good sense. Brilliant track, absolutely brilliant. So that's the last track on the album. I mean, to me, it's one of my favourite albums by AC/DC. It was an album that they needed to make. Probably their biggest selling album. After Bon, big shoes to follow, but Brian's done a great job, and the fans. And I say that he was the saviour of AC/DC. He saved them. So this is a very special album. But let's have a look at the tracks for me to pick this side. There are so many iconic tracks on this album, from start to finish. Oh, the highlights. Hell's Bells, that daunting bell. The drumming on Juke to Thrill's brilliant. Back in Black, just classic. It's got You Shook Me All Night Long, which is a big fan, and even non-AC/DC fans like that track. That's okay. And then Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. But my perfect side on this one, it's going to be side one. There is a reason for this. The first two tracks just blow you away. The screeching, the first time you really hear Brian's screechy is on What Do You Do for Money, Honey. The grindy, dirty Givin the Dog a Bone. Classic Malcolm riffs. And the dirty riffs of Let Me Put My Love Into You. Absolutely brilliant side. So today's best side is side one. We're not doing too bad here. People, a lot of people agree with me. Some of you don't, but it doesn't matter. The whole album is brilliant. It's a tough one. I love this album. Apart from Shake a Leg, every track is very, very strong. And I'll play this album a lot. Okay, that's all for today. What have we got for you tomorrow? Well, we got part 2 of the Rod Stewart story. And we're going to have a look at his time in the Faces. Legendary band, and made some fantastic songs. 4 excellent albums as well. And then tomorrow's retro ranking, we're going to do one of these little differences. And tomorrow I'm going to have a look at UK comedy themes, some sitcoms and that sort of thing. So that's for tomorrow. Don't forget, you've got till Wednesday to vote in the final Battle Royale. Will it be Mix, Who's Next, or Simon Sgt. Pepper? that walks away as the best album according to the Obscurians, which is the people in the gallery on Thursday, and will win the exclusive t-shirt with the real star of my channel, Rocky, is featured on the t-shirt in a big way. So don't forget, you'll find that in this video. The link will be in this video. It'll also be, it is in the community tab, and it's in the what's on next week, that little video that I do so people can see what's coming up in the coming week.